Hi, my name is Melinda Beasi. I'm the director of Act 2 Studios Opera Workshop, and I'm here to get teenagers involved in opera.
But it's like, here's all this material that I'm like, whoa, I've never heard of this before. It's like my new favorite thing. This is this important emotional moment in this character's life, and we could write this really beautiful melody that sums up this emotion and then put it together to make an even more powerful piece of theater.
Since I'm a musical theater person, opera's so different from musical theater. It's really cool.
And like learning different styles of music, which then will like help us with musical theater as well as like make us able to do like more classical music.
Most kids come to our studio because they're interested in singing musical theater, but I feel pretty strongly that classical training is the key to strong, healthy singing in pretty much any genre. So I've been working hard to get kids interested in singing older music. And last year, about this time, a few of them had been involved in singing art songs and such, and I reached out very spontaneously, actually, to about 13 kids who I felt had voices developed enough to handle the material. I thought I would be lucky if 4 people wanted to join me in doing some opera scenes. And in the end, I had 11. I think for all of them it was pretty rewarding.
I think I've just really advanced as a musician.
I'll be able to say someday that I used to sing opera when I was 15, which is pretty cool because I don't know anybody who's not in the workshop that does it.
The coolest thing in the world is a bunch of teenagers who are just like, let's just sing Mozart now.
The idea from the beginning was to work on scenes from The Marriage of Figaro. It has a lot of great women's roles, and we have a lot of girls. And the music is tuneful and fun to learn. And since we were only going to be meeting officially for a week in August, it was also determined that the kids would be responsible for learning all their music ahead of time so that we could spend that week mainly on staging. The kids' age range from 13 to 18. Their musicianship varies widely. Some of them are fantastic musicians, and they were certainly capable of learning the music on their own. Some barely read music at all. And here I was setting them up for this pretty impossible task, and I think the thing that impressed me the most is that in almost every case, when faced with this, instead of looking at the overwhelming amount of material and saying, oh no, sorry, I can't do it, the reaction from the kids was, oh wow, this is going to be really challenging. I need extra help. So I made myself available pretty much any time I wasn't teaching at the studio. I was available for kids to come and coach on the material and learn the material.
It was hard to go into it because I hadn't had much experience with sight reading, and I came out of it much stronger, but throughout the process I had a lot of trouble in the beginning working on that because it was like, just learn all of this music. And I didn't know how to read it for most of it, so that was challenging, but it was really rewarding going through that.
Opera's changed a lot about my voice because it's made it a lot more mature, and I really love singing opera. I feel like my voice fits well. Because I never knew I could do something like this before.
Will dress up Carabino. I took a pair that you should not depart yet. Dress him up as a woman.
All of the recitatives that I was so scared of that we worked on, and now I'm not as scared of them. They still scare me, but a lot less.
Yeah.
Come in,
Sir, you're welcome, gallant captain. Oh, do not call me by such a hateful title, for it reminds me that I must be parted from her so kind and gentle.
I liked being Carabino as anything at all, because he's the best.
Tell me what love is.
It was almost like learning something in a different language. Even though it was in English, like how different it was and how different you have to approach it, it's almost like having to become fluent in a second language. A lot of times as teenagers we don't get exposed to opera and more classical styles of music. Like, we might hear it at our grandparents' house, but being able to work on it and like pick it apart and see what it actually means and how we can use it today is incredibly beneficial, because I don't know if there's anywhere else in Western Mass, at least, that offers that to people.
I feel like we never had the opportunity to do opera. Like, at school we do a bunch of musicals, we do comedic plays, because no one, like, people want to see, like, funny, popular musicals like that. Whereas, like, we get to actually, like, delve into opera and be like, oh, this is classical music. Yeah.
Which is different.
Yes.
Than what we usually get to do and rare.
Yeah.
What was interesting, which we did some of, is like acting through the opera scenes and how it's so different, because like even though it was in English, like it's just like a different medium.
And it's not just that the singer's there to complement the musicians, or the musicians are there to complement the vocalist. It's about using every available method of musicality to tell a story.
I used to just look at music as the words are telling the story, and then when Melinda was telling us about, when she was explaining to us how Mozart was working, I began to see patterns in how you can actually use like music, instrumentals, or notes to tell the story, and you don't even need words to convey what you're trying to say. And so now anytime I listen to anything like a pop song or film scores, you can really notice how nothing needs to be said. You don't need words to really get an emotion across.
I find it really cool because you don't need to know the words, you just need to listen to the music and it can tell you. It's really, really cool.
I find it really rewarding to like work through all of the different music that's just like presented to us, because you get to like discover all the different things that happen along the way when you're just like doing it, and you learn so much more than you would expect by just working through it and like trying to figure out what's happening and like what comes next, and like figuring out what's happening with your chord structures beneath you.
And then, if you study it and you understand not just your vocal part and what you're saying, but also the orchestration underneath, then it becomes easier, because the music tells you exactly what to do.
I used say I want the chiede a voce a little bit faster.
Involvement in the workshop has not only improved everyone's musicianship across the board, but it's also gotten a lot of kids much more interested in working on classical material outside of the workshop. We've got kids wanting to learn things they already learned translated into English. Now they want to learn in Italian. They're branching out. They want to learn Baroque music. They want to learn basically anything I throw at them. It's really exciting.
Because I like this, the ombro se piante there isn't as long, like it could be longer because it's like a short phrase.
The future of the workshop is really exciting to me, and I think to the kids too. We're going to be presenting an evening of opera scenes this spring, including a bit of the Figaro material that we've worked on previously, and then also adding a bunch of new material that kids have been working on already this year. And then this summer, we're going to be presenting our first production under the umbrella of the workshop, and that'll be Menotti's The Medium.
And you're waiting for the...
Ooh.
Okay.
And so you kind of get that feeling because the point of it is less the held out note and more the weight of the next note.
I am so excited to do The Medium this summer. Madame Flora is the craziest person ever, and I'm so excited to play her. I love her.
And my lamp is lost, and my lamp is lost.
I'm also so excited to be playing Monica. I think from the outside she looks like just kind of a very caring character, but I'm excited to like delve into what she actually thinks, her struggle between doing what's right and wrong and trying to protect her mother.
It's difficult and it's intense and the characters are so complicated and the music is so awesome, and I'm really excited to just dive into that.
And my bridal crown.
Super excited. I have recently decided that I really love directing.
And my bridal crown.
Especially with something like The Medium, which has kind of some like interesting themes about morality and perception and like reality, like what is real.
When Melinda was like, hey, you should try this, and I was like, okay, and then I did it, and now I'm so grateful that I did it.
I can't find a soul there. I can't find a soul.
Getting to learn in like an environment that's just like, hey, here are like a bunch of friends who are cool, and like here's like a cool teacher and a topic that you're actually interested in, like, and it's like, whoa, fun learning.
After actually learning how to sing and perform opera, it's not so daunting anymore, and I feel like not only would I definitely want to study more of it, but I would even be fascinated to go and see other productions and study it, and I would know that I would be able to understand it on a much different level from other people my own age.
Now I have 11 and 12-year-olds coming up to me asking when they'll be ready to join the workshop. I hope to be able to keep it going for a long time.